Hi guys, and welcome back to an all new update on the Fluval M90 Reef Aquarium. This update comes to you about 10 days after the revamp that you've seen. If you haven't seen the revamp, you don't know what I'm talking about, just go back a step and watch the last video and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so this is about 10 days after maybe. So far so good, we've lost no stock whatsoever, everything's looking healthy. Like I said, it was a huge risk what we undertook. And I think it's paid off really. There's still the odd little bit of bubble algae hanging around that I think we missed in the substrate and things, but hopefully it won't cause any problems. So first things first, I want to go through the cleanup crew. It's all in there. What you remember is still there, so we've still got the shrimp in there, as you can see. He's the original one that's always been in there. Snails, as far as they go, we've still got the conch snail there cleaning up my sand for me. We've got turbo snails in there. There's still some Nasaria snails hanging about. I think we've got 5 in there that we counted, maybe 6. But this is the new guy. This is the tuxedo urchin. Spends most of his time just sort of cruising around our structure and just eating away all the coralline algae and just picking away at things. But really, really interesting to watch. It's surprising how fast they can move. But really enjoying this guy at the moment. So next we'll jump into the fish stock, as that has changed ever so slightly. So we'll start with the clowns. As you can see, the common clown is still in there, and the black clown is also in there. These are both paired up now. They spend all the time together, or well, almost all the time together, causing no problems. Bangai Cardinal, still only the single Bangai Cardinal in there, but I don't think I'm going to get him a tank mate. He seems happy as he is. And then there's these 2 little guys here, 2 yellow wrasse. Really, really cool little characters, these. With my aquarium being the size it is, it's about 3 foot in length. I wouldn't be able to get away with putting a yellow tang or anything like that in there. So these guys just add that little flick of colour. Makes it a lot more interesting to look at. We'll move on to the corals now. If you'll remember in my very, very first video where I put corals in, well, the first coral video, that is the original toadstool still from the original coral stock. This is the trumpet coral, that if you remember when that was added, it had like 3 heads, maybe 4 heads, and now, you know, it's absolutely huge. Move down from there, we've got some sunny D zoas. This is where the clownfish sleep. They spend most of the time just laid in the zoas, which is a bit bizarre. I think I'm going to have to get them something a little more permanent. And moving over, we've got one of the hammer corals, which you know I love. I've got endless amounts of them in here. Little pulsing Xenia there, still behaving itself. It hasn't overtaken the tank yet like it does with some people, but I'm sure it'll start to spread soon enough. And a couple of green mushrooms up there as well. We've got plenty of these hanging around the aquarium. Even though I've given away, you know, rocks full of them, they're still all over the place. But that's that rock structure there on its own. As you can see, a few coral on there. It's looking fairly full. But this one over here at the moment looks absolutely packed. And I mean, I just want to note that these corals aren't at the full potential. They still haven't completely come out yet to what they have done in the past. A load of mushrooms down there still, as you can see. I'll probably end up giving away one of these rocks with some mushrooms on as well, because we just don't need all these mushrooms. So another hammer coral here. This was the wall coral. It's made itself at home on the end of that rock structure there. Moving up from there, this is the smaller Duncan. There is a larger one on the back, which we'll see in a sec. So if we look past these 2 hammer corals that are here, which are absolutely beautiful, there is a Duncan in the background there as well. Looks a little bit smaller than it normally does, but as I said, it hasn't completely come out yet, and it's also behind everything now, so it's going to make it look a tad smaller. Up at the top there, a little bit of Montipora left behind. We did snap the majority of it off, and we gave that away when we did the revamp. And the frog spawn coral over here, looking awesome as well. It seems to be really happy up there. It really is flourishing at that height. It's getting plenty of float. It seems to be enjoying it. So that's sort of it overview for the corals. As you can see, the tank's looking pretty full, even though we've got rid of quite a lot of stuff. It's hard to tell really, unless I sort of point out individually what we've got rid of. Brings me over to the wave maker. A lot of people keep inboxing me and asking me, am I still using it? The answer is yes. Would I recommend it? The answer is yes. I'll have a quick look in the rear of the chamber, as we always do. So we're coming to the end of the video now, really. Not a great deal to show you. Nothing's changed. Again, loads and loads of alpha grog in that first chamber with a little bit of floss on top, just to get all the particles out, really. Just a little bit of mechanical filtration before it hits everything else. The Bubble Magus QQ skimmer, you've seen that in all my old videos as well. And the stock heater is still in that chamber as well. moving over to what used to be the refugium and is now kind of a refugium still, I guess. In there we've got the grow light like I showed you before, and the algae scrubber is also still in there. Getting absolutely crammed with algae. I'm scrubbing off every single week. And in the final chamber we've got a return pump, and we've got the GFO in there and the carbon. So that's all of it, guys. A quick overview of what's been going on. Obviously I've been dying to show you how it's changed, and it hasn't crashed, and everything has been okay. So it's nice to make this video because I was half expecting everything to go wrong after what we did. But it just goes to show that sometimes you've got to take risks in the hobby to get what you want. And we took a risk, and personally I think it paid off. So that just about wraps it up, and I'll speak to you on the next one.